Greetings to everyone. We come before you today with the ministry of the Word. We're in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 1, verses 1 through 3, and we'll be reading in the King James Version today, and it says, "The words of Nehemiah, the son of Hilkiah. And it came to pass in the month of Chisleu, in the 20th year, I was in Shushan, the palace, that Hanani, one of my brethren, came, he and certain men of Judah, and I asked them concerning the Jews that had escaped, which were left of the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. And they said unto me, the remnant that are left of the captivity there in the province are in great affliction and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem is also broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire." Today we use as a topic, state of emergency. Look in your neighborhood. Look at its history, its culture, its relationships, its style. What do you see? If you live in an urban area, you might see high-rise offices, blight, crime, and housing that's more likely to have a balcony than a backyard. If you live in the suburbs, you're more likely to see single-family homes with big backyards and single-story office buildings and more white-collar crime than blue-collar, and less of what some would term urban decay. Whatever the case may be, chances are you don't see the decline of spirituality in your city. You most likely don't see the spiritual walls of protection torn down. Look around. Sex is more easily accessible than ever. Television brings violence, and even the theme song to Family Guy makes the observation that it seems that today all that you see is violence in movies and sex on TV, but where are those good old-fashioned values on which we used to rely? Look around. Fathers are against sons, mothers against daughters, and a man is at variance with his own house. Look around. Every neighborhood has a bar. Look around. Chances are you don't see the young lady entrapping young men and bringing them to their destruction by way of her bed. Look around. Chances are you don't see the pastors cheating on their wives with the church secretary. Look around. We've only touched the surface of the spiritual decline evidenced in our cities. When we read the text today, we find that ordinary man. He is a government employee. He is single and a person of great influence. His name is Nehemiah. Nehemiah was at work serving in the palace at Shushan, which was the winter residence of the king of Persia, who at the time was Artaxerxes the first. When Nehemiah's brother comes to visit, he inquires of him about the state of his hometown, Jerusalem. He is only greeted with bad news. It seems that a foreign enemy has burned down the gates and torn down the walls. And not only that, but it seems like that the people that returned with Ezra to inhabit the colony were oppressed and afflicted. Jerusalem was in a state of emergency. Look around. What has crept up in your life? What has attacked your city, your neighborhood? What about your interpersonal connected network of relationships? Your circle of friends, your family, your life? You see, walls were important to cities in those days because they offered safety from bandits and raids. They symbolized strength and peace. They delineated the boundary of the domain of the ruler of that city. Inside of a city wall were homes, shops, families, community, and neighborhoods. There was structure and protection. When these walls were torn down, boundaries were less clear. Enemies could attack at will, and defenses were weakened. And the place whose name literally meant praise, otherwise known as Judah, became a place of great trouble and affliction as over 5,000 residents were in distress. Your life can sometimes feel like Jerusalem. Everything in your life was going fine until one day you found yourself shattered and in shambles. Today I encourage you to take inventory of your life. What sins have crept in? What habits have formed? What has weighed you down? Now look at your neighborhood, your city, your region. Is it suffering from the same decline? Have you taken on the characteristics of Jerusalem, which was considered a disgrace and a reproach because of the state it was in? Are you considered a disgrace and a reproach because of the state that you are in? What about how God sees you? Be aware of your state. Point number one. If you don't know, ask. The psalmist cried out to God in Psalms, the 139th chapter, the 23rd and 24th verses. And he said, search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there be any wicked way in me. Point number two, take inventory of your life. Read your Bible. Hebrews says, for the word of our God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. The Bible gives us a number of inventory lists located in various scriptures, such as Matthew 15, 19, and 20, Mark 7, 21 through 23, Romans 12, 9 through 21, Romans 13, 8 through 14, Galatians chapter 5, verses 19 through 21, 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 9 through 11, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 9 and 10, Ephesians 4, 25 to 31, Ephesians 5, 3 through 5, Colossians 3, 5 through 9, 2 Timothy 3, 1 through 5, Revelations 9, 20 through 21, Revelations chapter 21, verse 8, and Revelations the 21st chapter and the 27th verse. As I close, there are difficult days ahead. It is imperative before you take on any task that you must first evaluate the situation. And before you go anywhere in your life, you must first evaluate the state of the state that you are in and the condition that you are in. Where are you on the pathway of peace? Where are you on the roadway of righteousness and the highway of holiness? Have you passed through the gateway of glory? Have you received the key to knowledge? Have you drank from the wellspring of wisdom? Have you opened the doorway of deliverance? Where are you? And what is the state of your life? Because oftentimes we may find ourselves in the state of emergency. Pray my strength in the Lord.